Oftentimes, when people have something they want to hide and at risk exposure, they try to divert your attention elsewhere. I remember when I was a kid, I got in trouble at school or something. I would get in the car with my mom on the way home, and I would do everything I could to keep her distracted. I would play nice. I would ask questions that I already knew the answer to. I would pretend to be interested in whatever the hell mom was talking about. I would bring up shit that other kids did to minimize whatever the hell I was in trouble for. I would do anything I could to keep the attention away from what I had to hide. In my adolescent brain, if I could keep mom distracted long enough, she would simply forget about my transgressions. Now, of course, it never worked with mom. She was too smart for that. But this tactic does work with the general public sometimes. We have record high inflation right now. Oil over $120 a barrel. Have you noticed fast food places, they're not advertising dollar meals anymore? Have you noticed that? Hell, eventually, Dollar General, they'll have to change their name to Peso General. At this rate, the peso will be more valuable than the fucking dollar. Joe Biden and his graduates of Woke U, who want you to forgive their student loans and pay their tuition, by the way. Attending Woke U is prohibitively expensive in most cases. For the low price of $80,000 a year, you can send your innocent, ambitious child to Woke U and have them transformed into a complete shitfuck. And that's if you're lucky. I've heard of some cases where a father sends his innocent daughter to Woke U. 4 years later, she returns home with a beard and asks her dad to call her Chad. I heard another case. This young man, he was the first in his family to go to college. Parents, they don't know any better. They send him to Woke U. He comes back home confused about his gender. Tells his parents that he is now non-binary and goes by the name August. But anyway, we have all these real issues going on in the country, but you wouldn't know that if you listen to Joe Biden and most of the mainstream media. Why? Because they're diverting your attention to January 6th or touting these supposedly low unemployment numbers. The economy is booming. Look at all these job openings. Under my economic plan, McDonald's can't even find workers because so many people are working or at home collecting woke welfare. Right now, the PGA doing the same thing the Biden administration's doing. They are using Phil Mickelson in this LIV tournament to divert your attention away from their own sins. But before we get into that, first, let's start off with Howard Stern, inserting his uninformed opinion on this issue. Howard Stern used to be a man who was not afraid to call out the establishment. Howard Stern used to be a man who didn't tolerate bullshit. Hell, the tagline of his show when he joined SiriusXM was "No More Bullshit." He used to be a man who called out any and all hypocrisy. One of the reasons that Howard Stern was so appealing, he was the common man. He wasn't worried about hurting the feelings of politicians or celebrities. His only concern was speaking his mind. He was in touch with his audience. Today, Howard Stern is the establishment. He represents the same hypocrisy that he used to detest. This morning on his show, Howard Stern indirectly defended the PGA. Right now, the narrative being floated by the media and the PGA, Phil Mickelson is in business with terrorists. The Saudis killed a journalist. They hate gay people. They use religion to discriminate against people. How dare Phil Mickelson accept their blood money? This is the narrative being pushed by the mainstream media. It's the same narrative Howard Stern regurgitated this morning. Listen for yourself.
Their religion, they hate everybody. They hate gay people, Jews, you name it. They got a list, a laundry list of people who are pieces of shit. All based on religion. And so they're trying to lure some of the big players into this new golf league called LIV.
Yeah, they're
and
trying
it
to
reminds
change
me
their image, Howard. That's what it's all
they're
about.
going to change their image. Your image will change when you start treating people and you have free elections. Then your image will change. But they're real pieces of shit. And they got a lot of money, so it allows them to be pieces of shit on a big level. Normally, if they didn't have oil there, you wouldn't hear from these guys. You'd never know what they believe. They'd be talking to a sheep and a camel. But they unfortunately have so much money that they can spread their diseased brain power all over the world, and now they want to start a golf tournament, but not a tournament, a league. It's a crazy. Again, this is the government that execute. They'll execute people for being gay, and just because you want to, be with another dude. Who cares? This is the kind of bullshit they're into. But somehow they think if they have this golf league, everything will be fixed. What is it called? LIV? Is that the name of the new golf league?
Live, live.
Live. At a LIV tournament this weekend, the top 12 finishers made at least 560, at least 560,000, with the winner taking home $4 million. So they're throwing all kinds of crazy figures at these guys. And they're selling out.
First of all, Howard Stern is in no position to be calling anybody a sellout. This dude's one of the biggest sellouts in the country. And I'm not talking monetarily. Many people accuse Howard Stern of selling out for money. I applaud him for doing that. Good for him. Make all the money you can make. I will never begrudge someone being paid what they're worth. But the problem with Howard Stern, he sold his soul to the woke devil. He sold out to the same establishment that he made a career of insulting. The narrative that he pushed as to why it's wrong for Phil Mickelson and 16 other golfers to be involved with Saudi Arabia, it is the same narrative being pushed by the media and, more importantly, the PGA. You can't do business with the Saudis because of human rights violations. You can't do business with the Saudis because they don't have free elections. They mistreat women. They mistreat gay people. They kill journalists. That damn sure's not stopping Joe Biden from doing business with the Saudis. I didn't hear Howard Stern talking about that this morning. Joe Biden has a planned trip to Saudi Arabia. Did you know that? He's going to go over to that shithole and beg them to pump more oil. Allah Akbar, Crown Prince. My name is Jill Biden. I mean Joe Biden. Jill is my husband. I come to you today to get on my woke knees and beg for your filthy oil. I forbid my country to pump clean oil in the name of global warming. I mean climate change. I mean summer. Can you please pump some of your dirty oil so gas prices will drop in America 10 cents a gallon? You see, it's acceptable in the media for the president to beg the evil Saudis for oil. The ends justify the means. They have an election to win in November. It's okay to do business with a tyrannical government when there's an election to win. But if you're Phil Mickelson or Dustin Johnson, and you test your worth in the marketplace and find someone willing to pay you significantly more money, you're greedy, you're evil. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, Phil Mickelson's full of shit too. He was asked several times about the human rights violations in Saudi Arabia and him accepting blood money. Each time, he completely dodged the question. I wish he just would have come out and said, whatever happens in Saudi Arabia doesn't have shit to do with me. They offered to pay me more money. I accepted. Call it blood money. Call it whatever the fuck you want. It all spends the same. Instead, I keep hearing about how the game of golf will influence Saudi Arabia to be better. We're going to influence them with our American values. That sounds like the same bullshit I hear from Adam Silver when he talks about the NBA's relationship with China. Matter of fact, it is the same bullshit I heard from politicians 10 years ago when they sold us this idealized dream that a strong China was good for America. We're going to show China the American way. We're going to be buddies and allies. Who influenced who? Adam Silver, he comes running into Xi Jinping's bedroom anytime he hears the zipper unzip. Politicians like Joe Biden, they allow China to influence them through the almighty dollar. And speaking of China, I mentioned a few minutes ago that the PGA has something to hide. They are using Phil Mickelson, they're using the Saudis in this LIV Golf League as a diversion to cover up their own sins. Guess who else is in bed with China? Guess who else is in bed with China, and very few in the mainstream media are willing to report it? The PGA. Back in early March, whispers began circulating about the PGA's relationship with China. Now, these whispers, they weren't in the mainstream media. No. You would have to be an avid reader of the Delaware Valley Journal or RealClearPolicy.com to know about this story. In 2018, the PGA signed a 20-year deal with Shanghai Sports to run a circuit of the PGA Tour in China. Financing for the deal came from Yao Capital. Guess who Shanghai Sports and Yao Capital? Guess who they're directly tied to? Xi Jinping and the CCP. So let me get this straight. Phil Mickelson's accepting blood money because Saudi Arabia abuses their citizens, kills journalists, and doesn't hold fair elections. But when the Chinese government does all those things and more, it's perfectly acceptable to take their money. I guess when the CCP commits human rights violations, their victims don't bleed, so you can't call it blood money. They've become professional abusers. They know how to beat the shit out of people without giving them bruises to be used as evidence. Oh, but the sins of the PGA? The sins of the PGA get even better. Believe it or not, the PGA classifies itself to the IRS as a nonprofit organization, meaning they're not required to pay taxes on the $1.5 billion they're projected to make this year. However, what they are required to do is disclose business dealings with foreign countries. The form's called a 990 form. You're supposed to reveal your financial dealings with other countries. Guess which country the PGA conveniently left off this form? China. I wonder why. Could it be they knew the optics would be so bad they didn't want the public to know? Could it be they didn't want the average American to find out they're sitting in the cage next to Adam Silver waiting for Xi Jinping to ring the bell for their services? The Boston Herald, they actually asked the PGA about this. The PGA replied, "Our tour in China is a separate entity. I know it's called PGA China, but it's completely separate from the PGA in America. So we just didn't think it was necessary to disclose that information." Oh, I see. So the PGA in China is different from the PGA here in America. Hell, maybe Adam Silver can start using that same bullshit. That's some real good bullshit. The NBA in China is different than the NBA in America. Sure, Jan. Now, the PGA's pushing this LIV story. Don't pay attention to our relationship with China. Look at Phil Mickelson over there. He's evil. He's greedy. He's in bed with the Saudis. When the truth is, Phil Mickelson, he's doing the same thing that LeBron James is doing, the NBA, PGA, Major League Baseball, Joe Biden. What is the difference? What's the difference? Hell, some media outlets are claiming that Phil Mickelson is a fucking traitor to America. He's accepting money from the people behind 9/11. What the hell does Phil Mickelson have to do with 9/11? Again, why is he being treated differently by the media than LeBron James, the PGA, the NBA? Why? Because Phil Mickelson checks the woke boxes. White man, greedy, and last but not least, Phil Mickelson's not a member of Woke United Methodist. You see, as long as you pay your tithes to the woke church, you're allowed to do anything you want. As long as you proudly wear your BLM shirt, you participate in the fight to end mythical racism, you can do or say whatever you want. If you don't, you're eligible for crucifixion. These people are so full of shit. When Joe Biden was running for president, he claimed to be so outraged by the Saudis murdering that journalist. Joe Biden said, "I'm gonna make them pay the price. I'm tough. I'm Joe Biden." You know how Joey made the Saudis pay the price? His first month in office, he sent them 280 missiles worth $650 million. Oh, that scared the shit out of them, Joe. What a tough guy you are. Everyone involved in this situation every one of them's full of shit. Phil Mickelson, the media that's blasting, and the PGA, Howard Stern, to hell with all of them. But let me know what you think. Howard Stern calling Phil Mickelson a sellout while being the biggest sellout himself. The PGA trying to divert your attention to LIV and Phil Mickelson to cover their own relationship with China. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.